You look absolutely stunning tonight, Maria. This merger is going to be huge for your department.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. I appreciate that.
My name is David Mitchell, and the night I watched my wife S-Boss touch her under the table at the office Christmas party was the night something old and dangerous woke up inside me. I didn't shout. I didn't make a scene. I just watched, quietly, coldly, memorizing every detail, and planning exactly how I'd destroy the man who thought my wife was his to play with. Melissa and I never kept secrets from each other. At least I thought we didn't until him. The new sales director, Victor Harrington, a man who treated the office like a hunting ground and every female employee like potential prey. Suddenly, Melissa was coming home drained and jumpy. Her appetite vanished. Our Friday date nights just stopped. I'd wake up at 2 a.m. to find her crying quietly in the dark. Something was eating her alive, and she was desperate for me to not see it. But at that Christmas party, I saw everything. We were at a long table, the room shimmering with cheap corporate cheer. Harrington sat beside her, way too close. He'd lean in, whispering things that made her stiffen. Then his hand slid under the table. Right onto her knee, Melissa froze. She didn't dare react. She just looked at me, her eyes wide with terror. And in that instant, I knew. This had been going on for months. She'd been suffering alone because she knew exactly what I would do if I found out. She was right about that. But she didn't know I could be patient when I had to be. We left the party early. The cold air hit us like a slap as we walked to the car. Melissa's hands were shaking so badly she dropped her keys twice. "What's going on with Harrington?" I finally asked, and she just broke. Sobs tore out of her like she'd been holding them in for weeks. "He won't stop," she whispered. "He won't stop touching me, messaging me, threatening my job, threatening your job. He says I'm not showing enough commitment, that I'll lose clients if I don't start being more cooperative." My hands curled into fists. "Why didn't you tell me?" Her voice cracked. "Because HR reports to him. The regional manager is his golfing buddy. Because if I fight him, I lose everything. My job, my license, our house." She looked at me, her face streaked with tears. "David, I was scared of what you would do. I pulled her into my arms and made a promise I fully intended to keep. You're not fighting this alone anymore. We knew the truth. Without hard evidence, nobody would believe us. So we started documenting everything. His late-night texts, his inappropriate comments, the so-called private meetings. Melissa recorded what she could pocket: audio, screenshots, written logs, but Victor was slick. He knew how to imply without stating, threaten without writing. Then one night, Melissa's phone pinged. A text from him. "That skirt was distracting today. Westbrook Hotel tomorrow. Wear something nice." That was it. The line was crossed. A direct invitation tied to her job. We had him. But I should have stayed calm. I didn't. The next night, while Melissa was working late on another one of his fake urgent assignments, I followed Harrington home. I saw him get into a Porsche driven by a woman who was definitely not his wife. My vision went red. In my trunk was the baseball bat from my Sunday league. I don't even remember making the decision. One second I was breathing, the next I was destroying his BMW, glass shattered, metal caved. With every swing, I felt months of Melissa's silent pain exploding through my arms. A neighbor's light flicked on. I ducked, my heart pounding, and slipped away. Melissa never suspected a thing, but she did notice Harrington walked into work the next morning looking rattled. A crack in his armor had appeared. Days later, during a private performance review, Harrington made his final, fatal mistake. "Come to my lake house this weekend," he said, not knowing Melissa's phone had started recording the moment he called. "My wife's out of town? We'll have privacy to discuss your future." When she played that for me, we sat in stunned silence. This wasn't just harassment anymore. This was coercion, undeniable. We finally had him. We could have gone to HR, but they would have just buried it. So I called someone else, his wife, Victoria Harrington. Elegant, composed, and already suspicious. "This isn't the first call I've received," she said quietly. "But it's the first time someone has proof. We met her at her art gallery after it closed. She listened to every recording. read every screenshot, and then she smiled, a cold, sharp, deadly smile. "Give it all to me," she said. "I'll handle the CO myself." It turned out she'd been preparing to leave him for years, gathering her own evidence. We had just delivered the final piece she needed. Within a week, Victor was called into an emergency meeting. He walked out pale, cleared his desk, and was shipped to a temporary position in Anchorage, a corporate exile. 2 months later, he was fired. Victoria filed for divorce the same day. She got the house, the assets, and half his pension. He got nothing. Melissa finally breathed again. The nightmares stopped. Her smile returned. Under her new supervisor, she thrived. She was promoted, given her own team. Years later, she ran into Victor at a Starbucks. He looked broken, thinner, grayer. He stared at her, then looked away first. She came home and told me he's not the same man anymore. And I just replied, "Good, I still have that baseball bat mounted on the garage wall." Melissa thinks it's just a memento from my playing days, but every time I see it, I remember I'm not a violent man, but I am a man who protects his wife. And sometimes justice doesn't come from a courtroom. Sometimes it comes from a husband who decides his wife's dignity is worth more than a BMW windshield. Thanks for watching.